Hi everybody and welcome back. I hope this lecture finds you well and that your programming is coming along nicely. Don't forget, if you want to become an expert programmer, you need to do it every single day. With that said, let's move on, and we're entering into a new section, and that section is called tuples. But before we get going, let me ask you a question. Do you know what mutable means? Neither do I. Do you know what immutable means? When I started programming, I didn't know what either of those terms meant. Well, mutable means liable to change. So you could say that the weather is mutable, and immutable means an object or value which cannot change. So far we've been working with lists that we can change. However, sometimes you will want to create a list of items that cannot change. In Python, these lists are called tuples. So an immutable list has values that cannot change, and again these lists are called tuples. A tuple is created by using rounded brackets instead of square brackets. So let's have a look at how it would look. We could have a tuple of dates, which would never change, such as birth dates, equals, rounded brackets, 1, 5, 4, 7, 6, I'm off by 1 today, I'm still asleep, 11. Once you have created a tuple, you can access individual elements by using each item's index, just like in a list. So let's have a look at how we do that. Well, as always, we use our print statement, print, dates, square brackets, 0 to access the first index. And there we go, 1. Let's try that again. Print, dates, and let's try the third one, which will be position 2. 6. There we go. Perfect. Now, if you try and change the value of an item inside a tuple, you will get an error. The only way to modify a tuple is by overwriting it. So let's take a look at that. So let's get rid of this here, and let's put in a new tuple, coordinates. And why coordinates? Well, if you think about it, coordinates of a position or a place in the world is very, very unlikely to change. So let's start off with coordinates, and let's just put in, let's imagine these are longitude and latitude, and let's put in 1001 and 5002. Okay, perfect. Now, let's print out our original coordinates. Original coordinates, coordinates. Sometimes my spelling is not the best. Original coordinates. Okay, and let's print them out. Print, we need to give this a for block, for coordinate, in coordinates. Don't forget your colon, which is one of my major flaws. I always forget that. Print coordinate. There we go, and let's see what that gives us. It gives us our original coordinates and our two coordinates, 1001, 5002. Perfect. So let's come out of our for loop here, and let's do this again. So let's print out, so let's enter in new coordinates. Coordinates equals 2002 and 7003. Perfect. Okay, so print, and what we want to do is we want to give this a new line as well, just to give us a little bit of space when we're trying to read it, making our reading a little bit clearer. New coordinates. Okay, and let's put in another for loop. For coordinate in coordinates. Now, if any of this is unfamiliar to you, go back to the lecture in the last section on for loops. Coordinates, don't forget the semicolon, print coordinate, and let's see what that gives us. There we go. So like I said, the only way to modify a tuple is by overwriting it. So first you give it the original coordinates, and then you overwrite those coordinates with new ones. And as we've just seen, just like in a list, you can loop through values in a tuple. Use tuples when you want to store a set of values that should not be changed during the lifetime of your program. So that could be initial startup values. For example, if you were writing a piece of software that was related to a speedometer of a car or some sort of moving vehicle, the original coordinate or the original value of that would be 0, and that will never change over its lifetime. You would create a new value which would be 1, 2, 3, 4 miles per hour or whatever it might be, distance travelled, but the original starting position would always be 0. So I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.